Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a Bougie Glam makeup get ready with me. I pulled out my oldie but goodie sultry palette, which I love, and dipped into the shade Birch, and I'm just putting that all over. Really, I put it all over the lid. You won't be able to see it in this clip, but I just put it all over the lid and blended it out. And next I'm going in with this deeper brown shade. I forgot what it's called, but I basically pack that in a crease. Since the shade is so dark, I start by like tapping it in and then blending it. So you'll see me tap and blend with this. Really, with dark shades like this, you want to kind of do that technique so that it doesn't get messy quickly, because it can. The next shade that I'm going to go in with is the black shade in the palette. Also don't know what it's called. I think it's Noir. And I put that on the inner and outer corner of my eye because I wanted to go for this halo look. I haven't done a halo eye in probably a year from this video. So yeah, it was time for me to switch it up and do something new. And I'm packing, as you see, and then blending. If you just go in and start blending with black, sometimes it could just get a little messy and start looking more like a black eye, and you probably don't want that look. So now I'm going in with a fluffy brush that I use with that dark brown shade, and I'm just softening up the edges. You make sure you don't skip this step because that is what helps to blend the black in with everything else that's going on in your eye. Alright, so now I'm going in with this shimmer shade from the palette. Again, I don't even remember what the shade is called, but just pick your favorite glitzy looking shadow, shimmer shadow, and focus it on the middle of your eyes. So don't take this on the corners of your eyes, because that is going to defeat the purpose of it being like a halo look. Of course, if you're not doing a halo look, you can place it wherever you please, but since I was doing a halo look for this day, that's where I put it. And I just kept basically packing it on. Don't worry about how sharp it's looking right now, because I'm going to take a fluffy brush and blend out the edges of that as well, so it doesn't look so, I don't know, like cut like that. Oh, here we are. Blending out that edge. You could also do this with a cut crease, use a concealer underneath, but that's a lot of work and it takes more time, and per usual, I'm trying to get out the door, so I did not do that step with the concealer. Still blending out the edges, making sure everything looks soft and nice. Now I put on some liner. I used the NYX liner, but I couldn't get that on camera because I was so close to the palette trying to make sure my lines were straight that you couldn't see anything anyways. And I'm putting on the lashes from Amazon. It is the Viso Free Lash in the style D08. Will be linked below. So now I'm putting on a primer. I'm using this Milk Hydrating Primer, which I freaking love it. It's called the Hydro Grip. Don't use it that often because I forget about it, but I love it. Okay, it's one of my favorite primers. So here we are using the Nars Naturally Radiant Foundation as well as the Soft Matte. I'm mixing the two because Macao in the Naturally Radiant is like my shade, but with the Soft Matte, Macao is too light. So what I did, I ended up picking up the shade New Caledonia, and that one is a little bit too dark. So I mixed the two to kind of get my perfect shade. One day I will go back into Sephora and get Marquise's, which I believe is to be my shade in the Soft Matte Foundation. But for now, we're mixing it too. So I did these little droplets all over the face, and I'm taking a Real Techniques brush to just blend out everything. And then I'll go over the foundation base with a sponge, but I also added a little bit more of the Naturally Radiant foundation to get a little bit more coverage in the areas that I felt like I needed it. Again, this is Glam. We want to be full coverage for a glam look. Next, I'm taking my Hourglass concealer. I rave about this enough. It's in the shade Maple, and I'm highlighting the areas of my face that I tend to highlight and blending that out with a sponge. This is a beauty blender sponge, so FYI. And yeah, this is my favorite part of my makeup routine, is blending out the concealer. This is when I really feel like the look has come together. So now I'm going in with this L'Oreal Infallible Foundation stick. I don't know why I was about to say that. Stick in the shade Espresso. Wow. And I'm putting that on my contour areas, which are my forehead, the hollows of my cheek, and sometimes on my chin, but I don't think I put any on my chin today. And yep, blending that out. Really here with this step, I just make sure that it's blending into the concealer. It's not really a big concern that the actual foundation is blended per se, where it is. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to over blend it where it's supposed to sit, because then it might not show, but you do want to make sure that it blends into the rest of your face, your concealer and your foundation, that there are no harsh edges. But if you want to go for that glam full look, you make sure you don't over blend any of your concealers. Now, this is a step that I typically only do for my glam looks, and that is concealing under the contour. That makes your contour pop 10 times more. And I only do this, like I said, with a glam type of look, because it is a bit of an extra step. Now I'm going in with my Dusty Fenty Beauty Banana Powder, and I am going to set the areas of my face that I have concealed, which also includes the reverse contour that I did underneath the contour. Now, I pretty much wipe this off immediately because this is more of a lighter powder. With my more like yellow powders, like the Huda Beauty Kunafa powder, I can let it sit for a little longer. But with this one, I will not let it sit because I do not want it to be super bright, because it's already bright. So as you can see, I'm taking a big fluffy brush and just wiping all of the excess powder off. And don't worry about how it's looking now, like kind of ashy, because once we put on a setting spray, all of that will go away and blend in perfectly. It'll look fine, trust me. So now I'm taking this Charlotte Tilbury finishing powder and setting that my entire face with that. That is a very important step because of that reverse contour. You want to make sure that the color is not too bright underneath the reverse contour. So make sure you do that step. And then as you can see, I went ahead and used the Sephora Blush Trio palette to put on some blush and use my Urban Decay setting spray to set everything, which will pull the whole look together. And I'm taking my beauty sponge, the beauty blender, and I'm just gonna go over the whole face while it's still wet, and that makes sure that everything just is properly blended and sitting where it needs to be. Now I'm taking some lip balm from Laneige. I don't know what flavor that was, I forget. I think it's like punch, tropical punch, maybe. I don't know. Put some balm on, use my KKW lip liner in the shade Nude 3. I love this liner. Love it, love it. And then I'm gonna take, what lip gloss did I use? Oh, I used my Bite Beauty lip crayon thing for my lips, and y'all, I just fell in love with this thing. I haven't used this in a really long time, and I was just impressed with how like opaque it was. I don't remember it being like this, but I was so in love with this, and I'm moving that up I'm moving that up in my everyday lip stash. And that is the Pat McGrath lip gloss. Forgot the name of it though. It might be Rose something. I'll have everything linked just to make sure, but I forgot what it's called. But also a really, really good gloss. I got it in a mini trio pack some years ago. But yeah, here's the final look, all put together and whatnot. And if you want to make this more dramatic, go ahead and add some shadow on that the lower lash line. I'm taking this Chloe perfume that is like the perfect daytime scent. And yeah, that's it guys. Make sure you subscribe and like, and I will see you in the next video.